You ever had a moment where you said something, and the second it left your mouth, you wanted to grab it back? But it was too late. Damage done. Maybe it cost you a job. Maybe it hurt someone you love. Maybe it changed the way people see you. All because of a few seconds. Just a few seconds, where you let your emotions take the wheel. Now think about that. How many times in your life have your emotions made decisions for you? Not logic, not wisdom, not values, but raw unchecked emotion. Anger, jealousy, fear, pride, rushing in like a storm, flipping tables in your life and leaving you to clean up the mess after. See, we've been taught to hustle, to grind, to chase the dream, but nobody taught us how to manage the one thing that can destroy everything we've built, our emotions. And I get it. Life gets heavy, people betray you, things fall apart. You give your best and get the worst, so you start to carry around this weight, and before you know it, you're snapping at people who didn't hurt you. You're dragging pain into rooms that had peace. You're reacting to the present like it's the past. That's when you know you're no longer in control. But here's the truth, and it might sting a little. If you don't learn to control your emotions, they will control your life, your future, your relationships, your health, your purpose. They're all on the line. Because the most dangerous thing in the world is a powerful person with no control. Now, I'm not here to tell you to bottle it up. This ain't about pretending to be okay when you're not. No, this is about learning how to stand in the storm and not let the storm get inside you. It's about building the kind of strength that doesn't just show up in your muscles, but in your silence, in your patience, in your peace. You control your emotions, or they'll control you. So the question is, who's driving? Is it you or the anger, the fear, the pain, the pride? Because today, we're taking back the wheel. You can't fix what you don't face. That's the truth. You can't change what you're not even willing to admit exists. And most of us walk through life reacting, snapping, breaking down, lashing out without ever asking the one question that could change everything. Why? Why did that comment make me so angry? Why did I shut down when I should have spoken up? Why do I keep repeating the same cycles with different people? That's where self-awareness begins. It's not some fancy word you throw around. It's the quiet, courageous act of getting honest with yourself. It's looking in the mirror without flinching. It's realizing that sometimes you're the storm in your own life. And until you recognize the patterns, you're doomed to keep reliving them. See, self-awareness doesn't happen in noise. It happens in stillness. You've got to shut the world off long enough to hear your own thoughts, to feel your own heart. Most people are so busy avoiding their feelings, they never give themselves the space to understand them. They jump from distraction to distraction, scrolling, posting, binging, blaming, doing everything except sitting with the truth. But when you become self-aware, you start to see things clearly. You recognize your emotional triggers, the things that set you off, the wounds you're still carrying, the insecurities that are making your decisions for you. You start catching yourself in the moment, realizing, oh, this isn't about them. This is about something I haven't healed. And that right there, that's power. Because once you're aware of it, you can work on it. You can rewire it. You can rise above it. You ever meet someone who just walks into a room calm, collected, peaceful? They're not that way by accident. That kind of peace doesn't come cheap. It's earned. It comes from doing the work, emotional work, mental work, soul work. It comes from being real with yourself behind closed doors, so you don't bleed on people who didn't cut you. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. You can't build a life of purpose if your emotions are running wild behind the scenes. Self-awareness is your compass. It tells you when you're off course. It keeps you grounded when life tries to shake you. It's what helps you pause before you react, think before you speak, breathe before you break. It's what gives you the power to choose your response instead of being ruled by your feelings. Look, it's easy to point fingers. It's easy to say, he made me mad, or she disrespected me. But when you become self-aware, you stop giving other people that kind of power over your inner world. You realize, no one makes me anything. I choose how I respond. And that shift, that's freedom. That's emotional maturity. That's the beginning of real growth. You want to master your emotions? Start by mastering your awareness. The more you understand yourself, the less control your emotions will have over you. And the more control you gain, the more peace you carry. Not just for you, but for every room you walk into. We all have something that sets us off. It could be a certain tone of voice, a look, a word, a memory. Sometimes it's not even about what's happening in the moment. It's about what that moment reminds us of. A wound that never healed, a betrayal we never got closure from, a fear we never admitted out loud, and just like that, our emotions hijack the situation, and we're no longer responding to now, we're reacting to then. That's the thing about emotional triggers. They're personal, deep, and often invisible to the outside world. But they're powerful. They can take a calm, collected person and turn them into someone they don't recognize. That's why knowing what sets you off isn't just a suggestion, it's a necessity. If you don't know your triggers, you'll keep walking into the same fire expecting not to get burned. You'll keep blaming the world for lighting the match, when in reality, it's the gasoline you're carrying that's the real danger. When you get triggered, your emotions don't ask for permission. They just take over. Your heart races. Your mind fills with assumptions. Your words come out sharper than you intended. And if you're not careful, you'll destroy good things in your life over unresolved pain. You'll misinterpret kindness as manipulation. You'll see correction as rejection. You'll treat love like a threat. All because something deep inside you got pushed. And the worst part? Most of the time we don't even realize it. We say, that's just how I am, or they had it coming, or I was just being real. But the truth is we were being triggered. We were reacting to history, not reality. And when we live like that, always on edge, always defensive, always guarded, we lose control of our life. We're no longer choosing how we move. Our past is choosing for us. But here's the good news. When you start identifying your emotional triggers, you start regaining your power. You start seeing the warning signs before the explosion. You recognize when your tone is shifting, when your energy is changing, when your body is tensing up. And instead of going down the same destructive path, you pause, you breathe, you ask yourself, what's really going on here? Sometimes the trigger is rooted in childhood. Sometimes it's from betrayal in a past relationship. Sometimes it's tied to failure, shame, or abandonment. But until you dig it up and deal with it, it's going to keep popping up in your present, sabotaging your peace, your relationships, and your progress. So do the work. Pay attention. Reflect. Talk to someone. Journal it out. Pray about it. Because you cannot fight what you refuse to see. And once you see it, you can start to heal it. You can take back control. It's not about never being triggered. You're human. It's about recognizing the trigger and choosing not to let it rule you. That's the difference between living in reaction and living in wisdom. Between surviving your emotions and mastering them. The moment you understand what sets you off is the moment you start taking responsibility for how you show up, not just in moments of peace, but in moments of pressure. And that is emotional power. There's a split second between how you feel and what you do, and in that moment, your entire future can shift. That's where discipline lives. That space between impulse and action. Most people skip right over it. They feel something and immediately respond. Someone disrespects them and they lash out. They feel tempted and they give in. They feel offended and they shut down or explode. That's impulse. And if you live by impulse, you'll always be at the mercy of your emotions. But discipline, that's different. Discipline says, I feel it, but I won't be ruled by it. Discipline is strength in silence. It's choosing to pause when everything inside you wants to react. It's staying committed to what's right instead of what's easy. Because make no mistake, reacting is easy. Anybody can pop off. Anybody can lose their cool. Anybody can go with the flow of emotion. That doesn't take strength. What takes real power is restraint, maturity, emotional self-control. See, discipline isn't about denying your emotions. It's about directing them. Your anger isn't evil. Your frustration isn't failure. Your sadness isn't weakness. Those emotions are real, but they're not meant to drive the car. They're passengers, not the wheel. And if you let your emotions drive, don't be surprised when your life crashes. Let's be real. Your greatest regrets probably came from moments where you let your emotions lead. A harsh word you can't take back. A relationship you destroyed in one night of anger. An opportunity you threw away because you couldn't stay calm. That's the cost of impulse. That's what happens when you don't have discipline. But here's the flip side. Discipline creates freedom. It's not a prison, it's protection. When you're disciplined with your words, you protect your relationships. When you're disciplined with your thoughts, you protect your peace. When you're disciplined with your actions, you protect your future. You don't wake up and magically become the person you want to be. You grow into that person, step by step, choice by choice, emotion by mastered emotion. Discipline is choosing the long game over the short fix. It's understanding that just because something feels right in the moment doesn't mean it's good for your life. Feelings are temporary. Consequences are not. What you say in 5 seconds can take 5 years to repair. What you do in a moment of weakness can ruin what took a lifetime to build. That's why discipline matters. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows through repetition. You're not going to master it overnight. You're going to mess up. You'll have days where you slip, where you say the thing you shouldn't have said, where you react before you think. That's okay. But the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you're becoming stronger. You're taking your power back. So the next time you feel that emotion rising, remember this. You are not your feelings. You are what you choose to do with them. And the strongest people in the world are not the ones who feel the least. They're the ones who've trained themselves to act with wisdom, even when emotions are screaming. That's what separates chaos from clarity. That's what separates the life you want from the life you settle for. Discipline isn't punishment. It's your pathway to peace, purpose, and power. There's a reason the most respected leaders, the most admired people, and the most grounded individuals all seem to have a certain calm about them. It's not that they don't feel what everyone else feels. It's not that they don't get angry, frustrated, nervous, or overwhelmed. They do. But what sets them apart is their emotional intelligence, the ability to understand, manage, and respond to their emotions with clarity, not chaos. Emotional intelligence is what helps you hold your tongue when your ego wants to clap back. It's what allows you to see things from someone else's point of view, even when you're hurt. It's what keeps you centered when the world is trying to pull you in every direction. It's not about being soft. It's not about being passive. It's about being powerful enough to respond with intention instead of impulse. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you can't control your emotions, you'll never reach your full potential. Intelligence might get you in the door, but emotional intelligence is what keeps you in the room. It's what builds trust. It's what strengthens relationships. It's what separates good leaders from great ones. People will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And that feeling, that's driven by emotional intelligence. It's the difference between reacting and responding, between making assumptions and asking questions, between being defensive and being reflective. Emotional intelligence means you don't take everything personally. You don't jump to conclusions. You pause, you observe, you process. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's maturity. In relationships, emotional intelligence is everything. It allows you to love deeply without losing yourself. It helps you navigate conflict without turning it into war. It teaches you that not every disagreement has to be a battle, and not every correction is a rejection. It helps you listen to understand, not just to reply. It reminds you that peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from self-awareness and healthy communication. In leadership, it's the foundation of influence. You can't lead people if you don't understand people. And you can't understand people if you don't first understand yourself. Emotional intelligence allows you to lead with empathy, to inspire without manipulation, to correct without crushing, to hold people accountable with grace and firmness. Most importantly, emotional intelligence shapes your legacy. Because at the end of the day, your title won't matter. Your bank account won't define you. What will be remembered is how you made others feel. Did you bring calm or confusion? Did your presence inspire growth or provoke fear? Were you known for your emotional storms or your emotional steadiness? Emotional intelligence doesn't mean you ignore how you feel. It means you learn to guide it. It means you grow to a point where your emotions inform your actions, but they don't control them. That's where the real power is. That's when you become someone who doesn't just live. They lead. Who doesn't just exist. They elevate every room they walk into. And in a world full of noise, ego, and emotion-fueled decisions, emotional intelligence is your anchor. It's your edge. It's your advantage. Not just for success, but for significance. There are some storms in life that discipline alone can't calm. There are some wounds so deep, triggers so heavy, emotions so tangled, that you can't just will your way through them. You need something deeper, something stronger. You need faith. You need forgiveness. And you need focus. Faith isn't just a spiritual buzzword. It's a lifeline. It's what keeps you grounded when everything around you feels uncertain. It's what reminds you that your emotions are temporary, but your purpose is eternal. There are moments in life where the weight gets too heavy, where fear knocks on the door louder than hope, where confusion clouds your judgment. And in those moments, you don't just need a plan, you need a belief that there's something bigger than the pain you're feeling. Faith says, I may not understand this right now, but I trust there's a reason I'm walking through it. It keeps you from falling apart when everything around you is shaking. But faith alone isn't enough. Because life will hurt you. People will hurt you. And if you're not careful, You'll start carrying that pain like armor. You'll become guarded, angry, bitter. That's where forgiveness comes in. Not for them, for you. See, forgiveness isn't saying what they did was okay. It's saying, I refuse to let what they did keep controlling me. Because every time you replay that betrayal, that insult, that heartbreak, you relive it. And when you hold on to that pain, you're not punishing them. You're poisoning yourself. Forgiveness frees you. It untangles the emotional knots that keep you stuck. It allows you to breathe again, to love again, to move forward without dragging the past behind you like a chain. And no, it's not easy. Forgiving someone who never apologized? That takes strength. Forgiving yourself for mistakes you can't undo? That takes courage. But the alternative, living in anger, shame, or guilt, that's not a life. That's a prison. And once you've got your heart right, faith in place, forgiveness flowing, then comes focus. Because now that the fog is lifting, it's time to aim your life in the right direction. Focus means refusing to let distractions detour your destiny. It means saying no to things that don't align with your purpose. It means keeping your eyes forward, not stuck on who hurt you, what they said, or where you failed. Focus is clarity. It says, I've come too far to look back. It protects your peace by helping you stay aligned with your vision, because emotions will always try to pull you in different directions. Fear wants you to freeze. Pride wants you to prove something. Pain wants you to isolate. But focus keeps your soul steady. It keeps your mind clean. It helps you wake up every day and choose purpose over pettiness, growth over grudges, peace over panic. Faith gives you the strength to keep going. Forgiveness gives you the freedom to move light. And focus gives you the direction to move forward. When you have all three, you don't just control your emotions, you transform them. You become the kind of person who can walk through fire and come out refined, not burned. You become unshakable. And in a world full of emotional chaos, that is power, that is peace, that is purpose. Let me leave you with this. You will feel. You're supposed to. You're human. You'll get angry. You'll get hurt. You'll feel fear, jealousy, sadness, pride. But feeling something doesn't mean you have to be ruled by it. You are not a slave to your emotions. You don't have to burn bridges just because someone lit a match. You don't have to sink your own ship just because the water got rough. Your emotions are powerful, but you are more powerful. And when you choose to lead your life from a place of discipline, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and faith, you become dangerous in the best way. Dangerous to every generational curse that tried to break you. Dangerous to every lie that said you're not enough. Dangerous to the chaos that used to control you. You don't need a perfect past to build a powerful future. You just need the courage to pause, to reflect, to grow, and to take back the wheel. Control your emotions before they control your life. Because if you don't, if you keep letting impulse run the show, if you keep letting wounds make your choices, if you keep reacting instead of rising, you'll wake up one day surrounded by the ruins of a life that could have been beautiful. So choose better, respond wiser, love deeper, forgive quicker, and above all, stay grounded. Because a grounded person can't be shaken by temporary storms. You were made for more than survival. You were made to lead, to rise, to walk in purpose with clarity, strength, and peace. So now the question is, will you let your emotions lead your life, or will you lead them? The choice is yours, and it starts today.